absolute value equations, you guys have worked with absolute value before, but we're going to be working with equations now. So when we look at just a basic review, we're saying that when this -3, the absolute value of that would become a +3. So x in this case would equal 3. In this case, this is saying x equals the absolute value of -5, so x would equal a +5 because it's always going to be positive. Now on this one, this says, what would x equal? What would be the absolute value of x for it to come out a +12? In this one, we have two answers. It could be a +12 because absolute value of 12 is 12, or it could be a -12 because if I put a -12 in there, I still get a +12. On this one, as you're looking at it, is there anything that I can put in an absolute value that's going to give me out a negative? And hopefully you're saying no, because anytime I put something in absolute value, it's always a positive. So this one has no solution. It cannot be done. So in the past, we were always trying to isolate the variable. In this case, though, we want to isolate the absolute value expression. So we're looking to pull out that whole expression. That's what we want to get alone. So we're going to highlight the absolute value expression, and we're going to do this by inverse operations for anything outside the absolute value. So I'm just going to show you an example. Now this is the whole thing that I want alone. So in order to get this alone, I need to undo this. Right now I'm adding 2, so the opposite would be subtract 2, leaving me with the absolute value of g equals, and then 11 minus 2 is 9. So I have done step 1. Step 2 is create two equations. So you're going to set the inside of the absolute value. So whatever's in here, you're going to set it equal to both the positive and negative number from the other side of the equal sign. So that means whatever this number on the opposite side is going to be both positive and negative, because g in this case could be either a +9 or it could be a -9. Either way, when it comes out, it's going to be 9. So you're going to take, we have two equations. We're going to have g equals the positive form and g equals the negative form. Then we're going to solve both equations. In this case, there's nothing to solve. And then we're going to write our solution set. So it's going to be written like this. In this case, g would equal, and we have our parentheses. Those are actually brackets. And it's important that you understand it's smallest to biggest. So our smallest number is -9, so that's going to go first, and 9. Those are the two that are there. You'll notice they're not just parentheses because a parenthesis indicates an x and a y value, but these are saying both of these values can be g. G is equal to both of these. All right, so step number 2, we're going to highlight our absolute value. We need to get this alone on that side. So when you look, it's already by itself on that side. I don't have to solve for anything. So we are going to right here, it says using inverse operations and get anything outside the absolute value expression on the other side. Well, there's nothing outside that, so I don't need to do anything. Now, step 2, I'm going to create two equations. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to do x minus 5. So whatever's on the inside, it's going to be equal to this and the opposite of that. And so my other equation would be x minus 5 equals -2. And then we're going to solve for both of those. So our goal is to solve for x. So we'd add 5 to both sides, leaving me with x equals 7 for that one. So if I put 7 in here, 7 minus 5 is 2, and the absolute value of 2 is 2. Or in this case, I would add 5, leaving me with x equals 3. Again, if I put 3 in here, 3 minus 5 is -2, but the absolute value of -2 is +2. So we would say our solution set is x equals smallest to greatest, 3 and 7. All right, and then we're going to look at g. Again, our goal is to get this part alone. I don't want that though. So I'm trying to get this x minus 8 on the side by itself. So I need to, right now, x minus 8, that whole thing is being multiplied by 2. So to undo that, I'm going to divide by 2. Again, same thing on top and bottom, becomes 1. Divide this by 2. So now I'm left with absolute value of x minus 8 on this side equals 14 on this side. Now I have isolated so that this is all alone. To get that final step, I need to set the inside of this equal to the positive and the negative of this answer on that side. So now I'm going to solve. If I add 8 to both sides, I now have x equals 22, and I'm going to add 8 to this side. X equals negative 6. So let's try this. If I put this in, 22 minus 8 would give me 14. The absolute value of 14 is 14, and 14 times 2 is 28. So that one works. Now let's plug this one in. I said that x equals negative 6. If I put negative 6 in here, a negative 6 and minus 8 gives me a negative 14. But I want the absolute value of negative 14, which is positive 14, and 14 times 2 is still 28. So that one also works. So our solution set would be x equals, starting from smallest to biggest, negative 6, 22. All right. Our last one, I'm going to get you started. I want you to try to figure it out on your own. Our goal is to get this alone. So there's two things that I need to get rid of. I need to get rid of this first. I need to move that to this side. And then I need to divide it all by 7. So take a minute and do that, and then check to see if you got it right. So do it, and then come back and check to see if you got it right. All right, so your final answers, if you did it correctly, should be that.